Hi, welcome back to Logical A Meets World. I'm Cryptoglyphics. So today I want to go over what life was like before I was diagnosed and what it's like now. There's a bit of maybe a glare on the screen from the sun coming in, but that's the sun coming in, and this is the best spot I can record. I didn't shave today because I didn't feel like shaving today, and that's okay. Anyway, for me growing up, I was very early on driven towards things, anything structured, anything with rules, in everything from, I have rules for how I set my plate, my silverware. When I was a kid, it was how I played with my toys. There were games that I would develop where certain toys fit, certain toys didn't, which made trying to play with me nearly impossible because I would have to explain the rules. And if you ask questions about the rules, then I just didn't want you to play. School was a terrific nightmare. The lack of everyone's move, or the lack of people staying where they should be, doing what they were told, made it extremely hard for me to concentrate. And then I would just retreat in and shut down and not cooperate because I didn't know how. I didn't know what to do. There were rules and structure, but if they weren't being followed, then what was I supposed to follow? It just didn't make any sense to me. After high school, going to work was something that was going to be important. But I had trouble, and probably still have, maybe not as much trouble, but still a great deal of difficulty just introducing myself. They always say put your best foot forward, make a good impression, and I have no idea to this day if I'm even making any kind of impression, good or bad. I know I'm there. I know there's purpose to be there, and it's an obstacle course to see my way through it. But this is going anywhere new people. I am completely always absorbed in, do I appear okay? Do I look okay? Am I looking too long? Am I staring? Do I say something if I notice something out of place, which I've learned not to do so much? To me, it was just something, there's something wrong there, or something's misplaced, or there's a tag showing, or someone has spilled something and they don't know, or maybe it's something that I perceive wrong, that is out of place, that isn't out of place, and it just creates an awful snowball effect of back and forth that is very uncomfortable and gets so very quickly. So I've been fortunate enough to find someone who has the love and compassion to deal with someone like me and be married. But it has been at times, very challenging road, to a point where if my life as it is was going to continue, that I was going to have to finally talk to someone and figure out why things, particular things would set me off. Why, if things changed during the day and I had no time to try to adjust, that I would just blow up and I would just be probably the ugliest person you could ever come across. So we started talking first with our physician, then moving to specialists, and after a few years, we're finally getting diagnosed with autism. Now, at age 32, being diagnosed, you would think, okay, as an adult, you should know and be able to do a better corrective course in a better way than, let's say, a child being diagnosed with autism and trying to prepare them for how to be in society. Well, you would be wrong. As an adult, I think people are still resistant to change, maybe even more so, because there's this thing about being an adult and thinking, I'm a grown up, I have my own life, my own way. Well, you want to multiply this by 100. In case of someone who's an adult who's been accepting the struggle that they've had and getting to a point where well, here are some ways that you can correct this. That's a slow start and an even slower progress, at least for me. I have to be careful still, because everything comes across literal. And I have to have details. If you use just modest generalities around me, I will not be able to follow, and I will not be able to execute in anything that you would actually want me to do. You have to be descriptive. Now, it can be kind of a pain for people, including my wife, to know, oh, gosh, maybe that might not have been clear enough. But it's easy to overlook that, and it's one of those things that gets, you have to try to deal with as best you can. After being diagnosed, the question was, what do we do? And there was a myriad of different medications to try to kind of offset things, try to, for lack of a better term, just mellow me out. And many of them would do worse than that. It would just numb me, and I just became this person who had no, for lack of a better term, resistance. Everything would just be okay, and really clouded how my independent thought on things. And so trying to find ways with modern pharmaceuticals as part of management of to be more part of the world was just one thing. The behavior modification, I was and even the medication in some ways I became honestly resistant to, because it was changed. I felt that I couldn't be who I was. I was almost kind of foreign to myself in some respects. So I started thinking about alternatives. Scheduling everything. Trying to predict based on where I was going, what may set me off, what may cause the most problems. Trying to figure out the best ways to manage being in the world. Trying to look for, when I go places, is there a place I can quickly step out and have quiet? Some of these things have worked. Some of them are still a work in progress. In the end, though, I have really thought about, I am making all these changes, but where are the changes with the rest of the world to meet autistic people halfway? In the coming months, I want to have an open discussion about that, and I look forward to your feedback on that. I'm going to close now, but in closing, remember that when you see people, the smallest part of who they are is their surface. Have a good day.